Last time I showed you how I made a dress for my Charlie cosplay and missed my Halloween deadline trying to make it more couture. But we are still missing all the accessories and props to finish this cosplay, and I will be showing you how I made this in this video. I have finished the dress and now it's time to do some accessories, starting with the crown and the horns. As you know, I can't be bothered doing my own 3D printing files, so I got some from my friend Nin Crafts on Etsy because she just makes amazing stuff, and I'm gonna go and just print them because they will definitely not take long, will they? Of course, let's just do some 3D printing in the middle of winter. Everybody knows that's a great idea, and this is gonna go so smoothly. In order to be able to use any of my 3D printers, I need a recommended temperature of 20 degrees. My things usually start failing at 15. This is the temperature right now, and this is in a shed. This is inside my house. I don't have central heating, and honestly I'm not sure if I can justify 16 hours of an electric heater in this room in order to print the things that I'm missing. Here I was trying to explain my setup, but my printer was too noisy. But basically what I was saying is that I had to put a heater next to the printer, and after a few hours I did manage to get the temperature of my room to 17 degrees. Unfortunately, I had to stay downstairs with a blanket because it isn't really healthy to stay in a room with your 3D printer on, and the temperature outside was about 5 degrees. At this point, I didn't even know if my 3D print was working, and I really thought that it was going to fail because, you know, that's what always happens. After over 10 hours with the heater on and me freezing downstairs, I decided to eventually switch it off before I went to bed, because leaving the heater on all night is not something that you should be doing anyway. So I really was hoping that the temperature would still remain stable enough to finish the print, but I honestly had no idea what was going to happen.
Hopefully the room in temperature won't drop in the next 4 hours. It's way too early for a Sunday, but look, it's finished. It didn't break, and it only took, I can't say it, but it says 14.6. No, 14.26 hours.
And with the crown looking pretty good, it was time to get all those supports down. And as usual, this was a super easy and uneventful thing to do. That once again took no time at all because 3D printing is easy. With the help of some tools and after a few hours, I managed to get all those stubby little supports out. Do not forget your safety goals if you are doing this and you are just afraid of just losing your life by being stabbed by some kind of 3D print mess. Don't you worry, the next part is as fun, because after hours and hours of sanding and priming and more sanding, I finally had my crown and my horns ready. I actually have a full tutorial on how I finish my 3D prints, so I will link it somewhere if you are interested. At last, after several days printing and priming and sanding, it was finally time to add some paint to the horns and crown. For the details, I painted the bottom of the horns white and shaded the inside parts to give them a little bit more depth and hide mistakes. I also painted the edges of the crown silver, but of course, I was still missing some gems. It was time to use my other beautiful and adorable and fast 3D printer, which went very well.
And this is why I don't like 3D printers. Somehow there's some kind of fault with my VAT, and that's all resin that has gone out, and I believe that's now stuck to my screen as well. And I absolutely hate 3D printing. I hate it. I hate it.
Even if my 3D printer had broken, I was still able to print these gems. But as they are the wrong color, I decided to cover them in UV resin and red dye, which was something I had not done before. This kind of worked, but the gems got stuck very badly to the chopsticks and created some layers that I didn't really like, but as I couldn't reprint them, I had to do more sanding in order to save them because that was my only option. My gems weren't perfect, but they were my only choice, and I simply glued them to my crown with E6000, and unless you look really closely, they do look quite okay. And with this part finished, it was time to create some weapons. Now, this was supposed to be ready for Halloween, and it's definitely not Halloween. Actually, I think hell is freezing outside because it's just very cold, like extremely cold. And yeah, I haven't finished the shield, nor I have finished the trident, but you know what? I think that's it. Like, I had like very awesome plans for this, but honestly, if I wear it at all, that is the thing. Like, sometimes you just want to finish. I just want to finish this hellish cosplay. Like, how many things can go wrong? Like, honestly, the skirt, I don't know how many times I've tucked in the lining and it keeps dropping because I knew I was using a bad fabric for it, but it's just too bad and it's just not working. So it's okay, it's fine, it's done. I'll wear it, I'll show you, and then it's gonna just live in a corner until in a long time I may decide to make the shield and everything else. But yeah, do a hellish cosplay and you may get hell. My plan was to take some pictures before Christmas, but as you may have guessed, that never happened, and after several storms and endless rainy days, the new year arrived, and I decided I should indeed finish the rest of the props for Charlie. However, my house became a demolition zone, my sewing machine broke, my other 3D printer also broke, even my airbrush broke. The only cosplay I managed to fully finish in about 6 months was my Yaemiko cosplay, which was its own monster and got everything else delayed. That went well too. Okay, I decided to scrap the shield because it's just a very big thing to do, and I honestly don't want to be sanding more than I have done it. However, instead, I did make the spear because I got a new printer, and I didn't get a new printer because I wanted a new printer. I got a new printer because the old one broke. Yeah. That's my life. Broken 3D printers every year, all year around. But I am very happy of how it turned out, so let me show you how I actually did the sphere and then finish this cosplay so we can make a reveal. And with a new 3D printer just set up, you would think everything will go smoothly now, right? Repeat with me. 3D printing is easy. And this is what happens when the temperature in your room is too low. You see? Yeah, this is the story of my life and of why I hate 3D printers. Eventually, after several failed attempts and a little bit of extra sanding, I ended up with an amazing Trident. And I must say, my new printer is way faster and detailed than my old one, but it's still a 3D printer. Anyway, I primed my Trident black and painted the fork silver. And for the details, I decided to try liquid metal from Vallejo. This is an alcohol paint that has a very realistic gold finish and flows very smoothly, so it was ideal for the scaly parts. And I used the same paint for all the details. However, it was like painting with water and the paint was very difficult to control, so I ended up with a very messy looking stuff. To go back with black and paint all over the wrong places to cover all my mistakes, which was a lot of work. Did I mention they are printed in both sides? This of course took a while, but I did manage to do it. It only took over 1,000,000 years. The last detail was to spray paint the apple red. I did have a little bit left over from a previous project, so this worked very well. And the Trident was finished. Only the shield was left, and for this I decided to use foam and save some printing headaches because I couldn't deal with any more fails. I had enough. I traced the biggest pieces in 10mm foam and I cut them with a very sharp knife. The smaller pieces are 5mm foam, and they follow the same exact process. But of course, all these pieces are looking very flat. We are going to need some heat. Thank you, Millie, that helps a lot. Using a heat gun, I shaped the pieces to add more dimension to them, and I also sanded all the edges off camera, as this is one of the parts that I hate the most. Foam is relatively easy to shape while it is hot. And it was finally time to paint. However, my airbrush was still broken, so my only option was using a mixture of primer and paint and cover the whole area with red paint using a tiny brush. And remember, you will need several layers of paint to get a very good cover, Red is one of those paints that will take a while to get smooth. For the white, I had just enough white spray left to cover the skeleton ribs / apple core / whatever this is. And after taping this part, it was time to paint the rest of the shield with gold spray paint. The last thing to do for this project was using an old Elsa wig with a few red wreaths attached to it to make it look like Charlie's hair. And 6 months after starting this easy project, it was finally time for the reveal. This easy cosplay ended up being a lot more work than I had anticipated. The day of the photoshoot, I ended up having extra troubles with my zipper broken up when I was trying to attach the tail, and my horns that kept falling down because the magnets I used to attach them weren't just strong enough for them. I had to wear the dress with a clip in the back and walk very slowly because my shoes were also too big for me. Not to mention, after several weeks of sunny skies, we chose the day with a big storm coming to take the photos and almost had to cancel them altogether. Overall, I am just happy I was finally able to finish this chapter. I still have so many other cosplays to catch up with. And if you are one of my patrons, thank you for sticking with me. I am finally making progress and there are so many new cool projects coming. The patterns for this cosplay will be linked in the description and I will be back next week with new exciting projects. Thank you very much for watching and I will be seeing you in the next adventure. Bye!
Sorry, that whole time I wasn't recording.
You do that all the time. This is the thing that I'm doing right now. My camera is not focused. I don't know what's going on. Honestly. I won't focus. And tell me I've broken the camera as well. Just can't happen to me.
That's good.
Can I just point out just one more time that I hate 3D printers and 3D printing because, you know, I bought, you know, new materials in order to fix the 3D printer. I got a new liner film and I got like a new screen protector, and you know what? I got the wrong one. So this doesn't fit and it's not gonna work in that printer. I think I give up.